So have you ever been to the store and seen anyone with a bandage around their arm? Or have you ever thought about ways to get a little extra money on the side? Well, I'm going to teach you how plasma donation works. And usually when you donate plasma, you receive a bit of money, just depending on which company you go with. Now, some could go off your weight, and some could go off of your just what time you donate. It's a simple, complex process. So eligibility for donation. Now, before every single donation, you got to get a questionnaire. So usually we ask you certain questions, health-related questions. If you're allergic to simple things, just various questions. We usually have a CMS or a doctor that runs physicals, and then afterwards we have questionnaires in the booths where we check your iron levels, we test your protein levels, and we do a weight test on how much you weigh. So that plays into a lot of roles. So if you're eligible to donate, then usually we get you set up on the donor floor. Now, when we go on the donor floor, we have a specific made type of bed that curves in, and we have a thing where you put on your arm. So even though each donation place has their own set of plasma machines, each machine is different in their own ways. They all do the same process, which is collect the blood, do draws, and do cycles, and we'll get more into that later. But the main point is that each plasma machine has the same type of procedures. So when you're setting up the procedure, usually we have a phlebotomist, a skilled phlebotomist that goes and assesses the vein. So we get the vein checked out. We have a cuff or we use a tourniquet like this to check the vein and see how good the vein is. Now, the vein could be either small or large. So we usually go off of which arm is the best arm and the best vein to use. So when the phlebotomist finds a suitable vein, we usually clear the area by using iodine. But if they're allergic to iodine, then we use a alcohol swab. Now, they're two separate things, but the main point is that we clean the venipuncture area prior to the donation. So when we start up the procedure, we use a wing gear. So this is a needle, and we stick the needle into your arm and we tape it down with some tape, right? So we do these things called draws and returns. So when you're on a draw, that's when the donation first starts. So the blood is being taken from the vein. And when that is happening, this centrifuge is spinning at a really high speed. Now, this is what separates the blood and the plasma at the same time. So it's really critical that you drink enough water, because if you do, then the donation will go really fast. So while this is spinning at a high speed, the blood comes in through here and the plasma comes out through here. The plasma usually goes into a plasma bottle, which I don't have, so I'm just using a bottle like this. So on those draws and returns, we call cycles. So usually those cycles varies depending on how much water intake, how much food you ate prior to the donation. If you ate healthy, greasy, fast food. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that play into that. So during the end of the donation, once we collect the total amount of volume that is set for the prior donor due to the weight, the donor will receive all the blood back, and during that time, the donor will be receiving anticoagulants so the blood won't clot or anything like that. And they also receive saline. So it is critical that the donor receives a saline, because without the saline, then you'll just be walking around with no electrolytes, which is really unhealthy, and that could cause you to faint or have a seizure, among other things. And so during the end of the donation, we take the wing gear, we stat it, we close it, and we pull the needle out as fast as we can. And we put a gauze like this. This is used throughout the entire medical road, and we hold it down on the venipuncture site. And while we do that, we have the donors put the gauze on their arms and hold it while we disconnect it. After that, we wrap the donor's arm up with a medical bandage. So this is a latex one, and this is a non-latex one. So if they're allergic to latex, then we use the non-latex one. So after the donation, we return the plasma bottle into the lab, and from there the donor will receive the payment depending on various factors. Now, even though the payment may vary per donation, it is important that the donation does happen because plasma-based medicines are always in demand. So yeah, that's just a bit. That's the end of the